Just before they broke for lunch, Cassie Ventura described how freak-offs actually became a job, lasting 36 to 48 hours, the longest one lasting up to 4 days. No wonder the participants needed IV fluids after a freak-off. I'm just curious, to Lauren Cullen joining us at the courthouse, how was the jury responding?
What I will say is Cassie made a point to say that when she wasn't making music, she was actually having to, quote, recover from these freak-offs. And again, she did say these freak-offs lasted between 1 and 4 days, and it would take her an equal amount of time to get her body recovered, to rehydrate, to rest, to detox from these drugs. It was really, really sad to listen to.
What comes to your mind when you hear the name Diddy? For many, it's the image of a hip-hop mogul, wealthy, influential, the man behind Bad Boy Records who discovered and launched stars like the notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, and French Montana. But for Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former lover, that name marks the beginning of nearly a decade of darkness. A woman who once dreamed of making it in the entertainment world became the central figure in a story so disturbing and cruel, it sounds like something out of a horror film. This isn't just a story about a powerful man abusing his status. It's about a system built to silence, protect, and keep everything hidden in the shadows. We're about to uncover what really goes on behind the curtains of the spotlight, where we expect to find only glitz and glamour, but instead find blood, tears, and suffocating silence. Cassie's court testimony opened the door to a dark underworld many assumed only existed in movies. How did a young woman, once a symbol of beauty and music in the early 2000s, get pulled into violent sex parties, drugs, secret recordings, and coercion so brutal she ended up hospitalized after each one? And why did it take her this long to speak out? Sit down, because what you're about to hear isn't for the faint of heart. This isn't just another news story. This is a black file, a case that could shake the entire entertainment industry. And more importantly, it's the voice of a woman who was drowned in silence, but now she's finally ready to tell her truth.
Cassie told the jury that Diddy forced her into drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts while he watched, sometimes sitting in the corner and masturbating. Through tears, she said she took drugs to numb herself, ecstasy, cocaine, and ketamine, all of it allegedly supplied by Diddy. She said the freak-offs included as many as 4 male escorts at once and typically lasted 36 to 72 hours. The longest, she said, the longest freak-off that she says she was forced to perform in lasted 4 days. She said they took place around the world, from New York to Miami to Spain to even Turks and Caicos. And at every stop, Cassie said the hotel rooms were stocked by Diddy's staff with baby oil, condoms, and drugs. And she says that these hotel rooms, this is disgusting, the hotel rooms were left covered in baby oil and covered in blood and covered in urine. Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless. But she said she couldn't say no because she says Diddy threatened to release videos of the freak-offs with her.
Cassie Ventura was once a music phenomenon when she stepped into the spotlight with her hit single, Me and You, back in 2006. The song didn't just climb the charts, it launched her as a rising star, hailed as the next big R&B icon following in the footsteps of legends like Aaliyah and Ashanti. With her striking looks and sultry voice, Cassie quickly captured the attention of both the public and the media. But the person who captured her attention the most was Diddy, a powerful producer nearly 20 years older than her, and at the time, one of the untouchable kings of American showbiz. Their relationship started off like a fairy tale: tender attention, lavish gifts, exclusive invites to VIP parties, and promises of a solid music career. But soon enough, the dream of stardom Cassie once chased turned into a prison with no exit. Diddy, with his charm and seasoned intellect, slowly transformed Cassie into someone entirely dependent on him. He controlled everything: her outfits, her hairstyle, even who she could spend time with. She reportedly had to ask permission just to go out for a walk. Some of Diddy's former staff even claimed she wasn't allowed to have her own phone for a long time. Over time, Cassie was pushed out of music altogether. Her second album was mysteriously shelved. New projects were promised but never came to life, and instead of recording music, she was reduced to showing up beside Diddy at red carpet events, serving as a living accessory to his image. Behind the scenes, many whispered that Cassie had traded her career for a life of luxury, but few realized the glittering surface was hiding a world of fear and suffering. One detail most people never knew: Cassie was once spotted crying in a dressing room during Paris Fashion Week. When asked, she simply said everything's fine and walked away quickly. It was one of many moments where she was seen crying in public, often brushed off by the press as just another celebrity meltdown. But in reality, those may have been silent cries for help.
We thought what we saw in that awful video from the Intercontinental was bad, but to hear the actual graphic details of what Cassie and others endured day after day for years is just completely heartbreaking. And to hear the sex worker actually try to offer her aid when, she was being beaten, and literally she went to him for solace, as opposed to the person who supposedly loves and cares about her. She had to jump into the arms of a sex worker, and he was literally like, this is not okay. You need to leave this relationship. And she did, unfortunately, what so many survivors do, which is, I'm okay, it's gonna be okay, basically, I can handle this. And the reality is, she really needed to get out because she was being violated and degraded in so many different ways. And my heart just breaks for her so much.
Melba, you're so right. Ours do as well.
Once a sex symbol of the 2000s, Cassie didn't fade away because she lacked talent or inspiration. She disappeared because she was simply trying to survive in a toxic relationship. A relationship where the man held total power over not just her career, but her mind, her body, and her spirit. When people hear the word freak-offs, they might imagine wild celebrity sex parties, just some reckless entertainment industry debauchery. But Cassie's court testimony painted a much darker picture. These freak-offs were not parties. They were living nightmares that sometimes lasted for hours, even days, where she was coerced, humiliated, and pushed to the edge physically and mentally. Cassie described them as sick, twisted body performances where she ceased to be a person. She became a tool for Diddy's pleasure and the amusement of whoever he brought along.
Cassie told the jury that Diddy forced her into drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts while he watched, sometimes sitting in the corner and masturbating. Through tears, she said she took drugs to numb herself, ecstasy, cocaine, and ketamine, all of it allegedly supplied by Diddy. She said the freak-offs included as many as 4 male escorts at once and typically lasted 36 to 72 hours. The longest, she said, the longest freak-off that she says she was forced to perform in lasted 4 days. She said they took place around the world, from New York to Miami to Spain to even Turks and Caicos. And at every stop, Cassie said the hotel rooms were stocked by Diddy's staff with baby oil, condoms, and drugs. And she says that these hotel rooms, this is disgusting, the hotel rooms were left covered in baby oil and covered in blood and covered in urine. Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless. But she said she couldn't say no because she says Diddy threatened to release videos of the freak-offs with her.
Lee Johnson actually said that Cassie did choke on the urine of an escort when Diddy forced this escort to allegedly urinate in her mouth. They did say inner circle numerous times, I believe, really trying to amplify the RICO charges. Diddy couldn't have done all of these crimes without his inner circle, right? Without his bodyguard, without his driver, without his assistant. They talked about alleged kidnappings. That one time he kidnapped his assistant, to go and try to find Cassie when he thought Cassie was cheating. I mean, it was wild. I feel like I could go on forever, but I won't. At a certain point, wasn't able to perform for Diddy and Cassie. He got erectile dysfunction because of what he saw. He said he saw Diddy at one point after an encounter drag Cassie by the hair from her computer seat all the way back to her bedroom while she was kicking and screaming and crying. And after she apologized and came out, he said that Diddy said, okay, you guys want to continue? And he couldn't perform. And that was it. From there, he could not perform after that. And he saw Diddy abuse Cassie 2 or 3 more times after that as well. And this is a muscular guy. He was 41 years old, a bit smaller, but again, he seemed incredibly affected by what he saw.
And was there, just quickly, Lauren, was there a point where he talked about, because I was trying to follow the blogs, again, it's hard, you were in there, it's difficult for us on the outside. Did he talk about Cassie at one point being under the influence of drugs to the point that she was slumped over, and Diddy still wanted him to have sex with her?
Cassie recalled that some freak-offs lasted anywhere from 36 to 96 hours. After each one, her body was so drained she needed 4 fluids. She'd lie in bed for days, unable to eat, walk, or function normally.
Just before they broke for lunch, Cassie Ventura described how freak-offs actually became a job, lasting 36 to 48 hours, the longest one lasting up to 4 days. No wonder the participants needed IV fluids after a freak-off. I'm just curious, to Lauren Cullen joining us at the courthouse, how was the jury responding?
What I will say is Cassie made a point to say that when she wasn't making music, she was actually having to, quote, recover from these freak-offs. And again, she did say these freak-offs lasted between 1 and 4 days, and it would take her an equal amount of time to get her body recovered, to rehydrate, to rest, to detox from these drugs. It was really, really sad to listen to.
One moment that sent shockwaves through the courtroom was the screening of a 2016 video. In it, Diddy is seen slapping Cassie, yanking her away from a computer chair, and dragging her toward the bedroom as she screams and cries.
2 witnesses were called today, including a former security officer at the hotel, where Diddy is seen on video attacking Ventura brutally. You remember that video back in 2016. The prosecutors played the video. The witness testified that Diddy tried to pay him off with a giant wad of cash. The day's second witness was a male escort. This is where it really got very juicy, who says that he was paid by Diddy numerous times to have sex with Cassie while Diddy sat there in the corner, masturbating and watched. He says he once saw Diddy throw a liquor bottle at Cassie and heard him beating her in another room.
Once he saw Diddy beat Cassie, he could no longer, perform and be engaged, because before he said even if they hadn't paid him, he was excited to be part of their world. He was enjoying that kind of activity with them. And then things started changing when he saw one time he was on the couch, Cassie was at her computer, and Diddy, he said, was in Cassie's bedroom. Now, Diddy apparently called out to Cassie to come into the bedroom, and she allegedly told him, just hold on a second, my personal information's on the computer. Now, Daniel describes being absolutely shocked when all of a sudden a liquor bottle, Diddy throws it from across the room right toward Cassie, and then he comes running towards her, grabs her by her hair, drags her into her bedroom, and tells her, when I tell you to come, you don't wait, you just come when I tell you. And he says he then heard, after the doors closed, Diddy slapping her, beating her, yelling at her, and Cassie screaming out, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And he says he was just kind of frozen in place. He didn't know what to do. And prosecutors asked him, why didn't you intervene? Why didn't you go inside? And he said, look, I know this is somebody with a lot of resources. Quite frankly, I was afraid for my life. Now, that drew a lot of objections from the defense, but the judge allowed that testimony. And he again reiterated that he was scared in that moment for Cassie, feeling like she was in a dangerous situation, but he didn't feel it was safe enough for him to intervene.
This wasn't just sexual exploitation anymore. This was torture of her body, her mind, and her dignity. And what's even more disturbing is that Diddy wasn't acting alone. He was enabled, protected, and even encouraged by a network of insiders, people who stayed silent for money, power, or worse, for their own twisted satisfaction. One burning question the public keeps asking is, how did all of this happen for so many years, right under everyone's nose? In luxury hotels, in cities like New York, Miami, even overseas in Spain and Turks and Caicos, without a single soul speaking up, prosecutors have a name for this: the Empire of Silence. It was a system Diddy carefully built, fueled by fear, cash, and control. Cassie wasn't just up against Diddy, she was up against an entire system. A network of assistants, bodyguards, drivers, hotel managers, even janitors, people who, according to multiple allegations, knew what was happening, saw what was happening, but either didn't dare or didn't want to speak out. Several witnesses claimed they were paid thousands of dollars just to look the other way. One former hotel employee in Miami said Diddy once handed him a stack of cash simply to stay silent about the screams coming from a suite the night before. A bodyguard testified that he was threatened with being blacklisted from the industry if he ever spoke about a video showing Diddy dragging Cassie by the hair after an argument. In one especially chilling revelation, Cassie said that after she escaped from a hotel in Los Angeles, Diddy ordered his personal assistant and a trusted bodyguard to kidnap that same assistant, just because he suspected the man had helped her flee. The assistant was allegedly taken to an isolated house where Diddy interrogated him for an entire day. This wasn't just abuse, it was the behavior of a criminal enterprise. A group where loyalty was mandatory, and any act of defiance was met with harsh, unrelenting punishment. But it didn't stop there. Diddy's reach, it seems, extended all the way into the media. Whispers about his secret parties had floated around in forums and small blogs as early as 2014, but never once did they appear in any major publication. Some anonymous reporters revealed they had documents and leads related to Diddy's scandals, but when they brought them to their editors, the stories were pulled. The official reasons? Legal risk, or insufficient evidence to protect the outlet from lawsuits. In other words, Diddy's money and influence had successfully buried every attempt to bring the truth to light, at least for a while. And perhaps the most terrifying part of it all was how normalized this behavior had become within Diddy's inner circle. One witness, a male escort who had participated in the freak-offs, said he once asked Diddy, "Do you really think this is okay?" Diddy reportedly just laughed and responded coldly, "She's here because I allow her to be. Without me, she's nothing." That statement didn't just expose the imbalance of power in their relationship, it revealed the brutal reality of Cassie's world. A world where everyone existed to serve one purpose: protect Diddy's image at any cost. In November 2023, Cassie shocked the world by filing a federal lawsuit against Diddy in Manhattan. She accused him of rape, physical abuse, psychological manipulation, and coercion that spanned nearly a decade. The lawsuit wasn't just explosive, it was a bombshell that detonated in the heart of the entertainment industry. For years, Diddy had built an image of success, flash, and cool confidence. Now, that image was cracking. What's even more astonishing is what happened next. Within just 24 hours of the lawsuit being filed, it was settled out of court. That lightning-fast resolution sparked immediate outrage. How could a case so serious, with testimony, witnesses, and even video evidence, be closed so quickly? Public opinion split in two. Some praised Cassie for her courage, saying it took immense bravery to come forward against such a powerful figure. Others questioned her motives. Why didn't she speak out sooner? Was this just about the money?
Well, Diane, prosecutors have wasted no time getting right into the alleged abuse that Cassie Ventura says she endured for years. Ventura telling jurors, quote, "He would bash my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head when I was down." She also got into the nature of those so-called freak-offs, saying that they involved hiring an escort and they performed under the direction of Combs, saying that they happened so frequently it eventually became a job for her to set them up. Ventura said she did not feel she had much of a choice but to participate, that she feared that Combs would retaliate or potentially blackmail her if she did not. And she's had at times to she's taken deep breaths, pausing her testimony, Combs appearing to be listening pretty passively with his hands in his lap at the defense table there. Now, remember, this is the first time that they are seeing each other face to face since 2018. You can imagine that emotions are very high in the courtroom right now. And this is expected to be a very lengthy testimony. Prosecutors bracing the courtroom for what's to come as she continues to testify, including videos.
Meanwhile, support for Cassie erupted across social media. The hashtag Justice for Cassie shot to the top of global trending charts. Longtime fans began sharing old photos and videos from her early performances, reminding the world that she was once a talented artist in her own right, not just Diddy's girlfriend. Thousands of women sent her messages of encouragement, praising her for doing something that not many would dare, especially when standing up to someone as financially and politically powerful as Diddy. One fascinating detail: when the scandal broke, Cassie all but disappeared from the public eye. She didn't post a single status. She didn't talk to the press. Everything was handled through her legal team and court filings. It was clear Cassie wasn't trying to turn her pain into profit or chase cheap publicity. She just wanted to be heard. Just once. On the other side, Diddy remained completely silent as well. No statements, no press conference, no promises to clear the air. He seemed to rely on the strategy that had always worked for him: throw money at the problem until it goes away. Rumors swirled that the settlement figure topped $30 million, unconfirmed, of course, but widely believed. Looking back, this lawsuit wasn't just a personal accusation against Diddy. It was a wake-up call, a harsh reminder of how fame, money, and influence can be used to manipulate, dominate, and evade accountability in a system built to protect the powerful. It echoed the same chilling beats as the cases of Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and more recently, Russell Simmons, men who were once glorified, only to fall from grace when the truth finally caught up. So, if you believe this story deserves to be heard, don't just watch in silence. Hit that like button to help spread awareness. Leave a comment. Do you believe Cassie? Do you think Diddy should face real consequences? And if you think it's time to shine a light on the darkest corners of the entertainment world, subscribe to this channel, so together we can bring the truth to places it's long been kept hidden. Because sometimes, all it takes is one voice to change everything.